Do you think Orwellianism is prevalent today?
Yes, I do.
So I believe that Orwellianism is prevalent today.
Social media and news media often, or not often, but they always report news and things that they believe are worthy for the public to know. And this information can influence people in certain ways.
Yes, because I think that government still have a big kind of like control over some people, and especially with like I think the scandal way back then. I don't know when exactly, but the guy Snowden, he was a whistleblower, and he had to escape to Russia. That issue where he like said kind of like told the whole world that the government has been like spying on us pretty much. I felt like that was like some form of aspect that related back to Orwellianism.
There are like outside things that are like the government or the news, whether it be social media, that have access to like controlling us in a sense. For example, Facebook or other like social medias or search engines, they know what we search up, and so they can cater towards us better, which I don't know if it's necessarily a bad or a good thing, but the fact that they have the ability to know that what our interests are, what we're like into in a sense, like the things that we search, the things that we do for like our careers or like our like personal information they have access to, and I think that's kind of dangerous in a sense because it can lead to greater governmental oversight, and I really think that's something that is possible for our future, just like it is possible for any other country.
Do you think we're being controlled through the news media outlets?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I do.
Alright, so I do believe
They can always leave stuff out or put in things that they want to kind of skew the data that they give or make it seem like something's happening and something isn't happening. So yeah, I do think that to an extent that we are being controlled.
the news, again, whether it be through our phones or whether we watch news on TV, like depending on wherever we get our news, it has the ability to make us believe what we want to or what we're told. So the way that it works is that people will believe the information that they're fed, and so whatever's on the news is what is dictating what we think. And so if we're exposed to news that is saying inaccurate things, then that's what we're gonna believe. And I think that in that sense, it's controlling us whether we know it or not.
But not to the extent where we're controlled, because we get affected by like these news. They might be like I don't know, like if there are like a lot of bad news around, I feel like there's a lot of like negativity.
What's the problem with fast news media?
I think that the problem with fast news media
And that it's very flawed. Well, you can hear it in the name, like that's how you know, like fast news media, like anything fast isn't good. So like, I mean, especially news, like when events happen, like you want there to be sufficient research being done behind the news, you want accurate journalism, you want things that are well reported and like documented. You don't want to have things that are like given to you in a fast way because you don't know how accurate the information you're being presented is. And so I feel like fast news media has the potential to present to people inaccurate information and cause people to kind of sway towards a direction that their like specific agenda or like promotes. So yeah.
I think the problem with fast news media is that
information gets out so quickly and it's not always the correct information that when somebody learns about something new and if it's incorrect, then they could spread that really quickly and it can travel to a lot of places really fast, and then sometimes it's harder for the truth to come out afterwards because everybody already believes that the original information is the truth.
it just want to get news out before the whole story is even known, and then once the news are out, there's like this public that already have formed their opinion, and then there's like this possibly a false perception of things.
Does the news media control your perspective of life?
I strongly believe that news media does control the perspective on everyday life that people have.
Life.
I say yes.
I think it does in some form.
Because it's really everything that I see. And you may not like really think that it's controlling you because you may think like, no, I have my own mind. believe or not. But if what you're seeing continuously, if you always see that, then that's gonna have an impact on you whether you know it or not.
Like a lot of negative news, I feel kind of paranoid in some way. Like there's a lot of bad news, like school shootings and stuff like that, and I feel like it kind of did cause public paranoia.
News does have the potential and the power to manipulate the way people think based on like the information that they present to people. So specific news companies like, let's say Fox News, would promote their agenda, like their vendetta, to get to people what they want them to believe, whereas CNN will promote something else. So just depending on what you watch, or depending on what type of news that you follow on social media or look up online, that there can be like a variance in between what you're being fed and like what side that you fall on, and in that sense it has the potential to control like the way that we
Do you believe fake news is a thing, and to what extent is it bad for our society?
Yes, I do believe fake news is a thing.
I do think that
Is a thing.
whether it's for jokes or for all seriousness, a lot of people create fake news as like memes, and not necessarily with the intent for people to believe it, but some people will believe it, and a lot of people do. And this, when they believe it and then they start spreading that information to other people, it can create a lot of misinformed people, and that's not always beneficial because people think they know about something, and in reality they really don't know anything at all.
And it can get out of hand when, like I said, when you said like there's like fast news and stuff like that, it falls under like fake news too sometimes, because it's not like credible sources or like real news in that sense, because there are like false information and stuff like that, and it can be dangerous for like society because
Fake news has the capability to make people even more polarized than we already are. That middle ground that stands isn't there anymore, and I think that's largely due to fake news that inaccurately reports things or portrays things in ways that aren't supposed to be done, or things that aren't true. Like, let's say there is a news outlet that has the agenda to kind of like cause like friction between groups of people, and I think that's a way that fake news works, and it can cause people to become even more polarized, whether it be politically or socially, and I think that's really just an issue today.
like there's, what if a person is so and so innocent, but this news makes it to be painted that person like to be bad, and now like the whole world is pretty much against this person when they're innocent, you know? Yeah, that's what I was getting at.